Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Campus Care Presents Ed Talks. Ed Talks is a platform where educators and leaders come on board and express their viewpoints on topics related to education and society. Our topic for the day is Vision and Goals of National Education Policy. And to express their viewpoints on the same, we have with us Ms. Renu Sehgal ma'am, Principal of GD Goenka Public School, Greater Noida. Very welcome ma'am. Very welcome Renu ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good ma'am. Thank you so much ma'am for being here today with us. Then we have with us Dr. Mrinalini ma'am, Principal of Yadu Public School, Noida. Very welcome ma'am.
Thank
It's
you
good to
so
have you
much.
here ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Then we have with us Miss Kalpana Kashyap, ma'am, Principal of SD Adarsh Vidyalay, Gurugram. Very welcome, Kalpana, ma'am.
Thank you, dear, to invite me here for my views about this NEP 2020.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And last but not the least, we have with us Miss Suman Singh, ma'am, Director and Principal of Redicon School, Ghaziabad. Very welcome, Suman, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And thanks to Intab that always they remember me and give this platform to perform and to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Suman, ma'am. So, speaking of national education policy and the vision of goals that it has behind it, so Renu, ma'am, let's start off with you, ma'am. Ma'am, what do you think? What, in your opinion, is the vision of the national education policy, ma'am?
See, the national education policy, I think after so many years we were looking forward, it has come into action and which encourages an education system which is deeply rooted in our Indian ethos, and it is also a driving force for the transformation of India into a sustainable and equitable knowledge society by providing a quality education to all, basically believing in three E's, that is educate, encourage, and enlighten. So this new education policy is for all, where it is very very flexible, where a child has to be dealt in a manner where the child is comfortable. Basically, introduction of the mother tongue in this education policy and the regional language, so that initial stages of a child are being nurtured and are being taken care with like a mother. The child has got learning ability more till the age of 8 years, and that is the age where they need lot of confidence and courage and a lot of understanding. So which is being focused by introducing Anganwadis, and we have a system of 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, which is focusing for all age group. So I think it is, it is a good thing which is elevating India to a global knowledge superpower. So with focusing on knowledge, deductive and experiential learning.
Thank you so much, Renu ma'am. Very well explained. Moving on, Kalpana ma'am, Renu ma'am just explained us about the vision of the national education policy, ma'am. Firstly, would you like to add something to the ma'am? And also, ma'am, in your opinion, how do you see the national education policy as? What do you think the vision is about when it comes to NEP 2020, ma'am?
As Renu ma'am has shared her views about the vision of NEP 2020, and it is very clear from her views also and her opinion that it is an excellent document released by the government of India in July 2020 to transform the education system from a traditional one to the modern one, or competency based education system. And if I will discuss about the vision of this document or vision of NEP 2020, So it aims to provide high quality education to all means to say it is inclusive of everyone, be it any religion, any caste, or any creed, or any standard of the society. It's about rural or urban also, and it elevating India to a global knowledge superpower. So as we have seen that NEP 2020 is including, it is a comprehensive policy document. So comprehensive, when we it takes the terms of comprehensive, it means it include everything in the document, which is as NEP 2020. And the main aim of the NEP 2020 is to transfer the education of India. It means Indian education system to the international standards. This is the main aim of NEP 2020. So I am totally agree with Renu ma'am that it is the driving the transformation of India into a sustainable and equitable knowledge society, as ma'am has told. So I am totally agree with it.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Kalpana ma'am. Moving on, Suman ma'am, Renu ma'am, and Kalpana ma'am just mentioned what the vision of the national education policy is, and one thing they both mentioned was the quality of education for all system. So, ma'am, how does the national education policy, in your opinion, how does it prioritizing the quality of education and the education for all thing, ma'am?
Uh, Thank you very much for the question, and I do agree with my friends who have spoken before that. And educationists, we know every time in the past also the discussion was there, and in a length, all the policymakers were discussing on the topic. But still, there are some subjects, some topics, some areas needs to be reconstructed. And this NEP 2020, the policymakers and government of India, they have make some changes which is very significant. And the vision of it, NEP, is to mandate the skilled education for all and evaluating students on the basis of their growth, understanding, and learning. NEP is a significant step towards transforming the Indian education system. The policy aims to make education more inclusive, equitable, and holistic. If we talk about the documentation, the framework is really good, and NEP is not a change, not a system, it's revolution in the education sector. If the aforementioned changes are implemented with the commitment and consistency, we could witness a significant reform in the way the young generation perceives and experience education. So, if we talk about the system and the evolution and the skill, so we can say in this system and the evolution and NEP, they have emphasized on the skills strength. Multi-state educational coordinate is a tremendous task and will provide multiple opportunities to the students as well as the teachers too. Though the initial implementation of NEP is very challenging, it will be a great deal and will be a very tough work. We have to enforcement of new policies and budget and closely eye must be kept on the implementation of NEP. If it is done successfully, then we can say India would have created a new generation of forward. So, in my views, NEP is a tool and a resource which is bringing us on a platform where we can reform the education towards internationally skilled. And the children will be skilled, and we are providing the skilled education to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Suman ma'am. Very wonderfully explained by you. Mrinalini ma'am, ma'am, firstly, would you like to add something to Suman ma'am, Renu ma'am, or Kalpana ma'am? And also, what is your vision? What do you think is the vision of national education policy is? And ma'am, Kalpana ma'am very well mentioned that the national education policy's aim is to transform the Indian education system. So how does it aims to transform this Indian education system, ma'am?
Thank you very much, ma'am. Actually, when you look at NEP, National Education
Ma'am,
Policy
sorry to
focuses on.
interrupt you, but could you please switch on your camera? I guess it's
Okay, okay, yes.
okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Uh, Actually, when you look at NEP, that is a National Education Policy, which is given by the Government of India in 2020, we can see one thing that the government has focused, and that is holistic development and skill development. And since ages, when we got our freedom from Britishers, the initial education system was developed, and it was policies were made in a way where Indians were developed into a system where they can take up the role of servants and employees, not as an entrepreneur, not to become a leader, because that was the kind of education Britishers wanted. And we
Yes.
continued with that kind of education system for a very long period of time. And lately, it was realized that this kind of education system is actually creating workers, but workers are not skilled. Apart from it, they are not having skill to become a leader. So ultimately, the number of jobs are going to get limited. Everyone will not get job. To get a decent job, you have to have a skill to do the same thing differently. So that is why government realized it, and government is working towards it, and they want to develop their skills since the starting of education itself, instead of going for skill classes after 12th standard. So that is why the most important thing what NEP says is incorporating skill and vocational education since the starting of the schooling itself. Second thing, they focus on foundational numeracy and literacy, which nobody focused much earlier, although we all were doing these kind of things in pre-primary classes. But still, government has made it mandatory that by end of second standard, child should be able to have foundational numeracy and literacy, which is required. So these two major things which government focused in the NEP, that is National Education Policy. And apart from it, various subjects were incorporated in last 2 years in curriculum, and a special curriculum is developed. Teachers training is being given, and teaching aids are being developed by CBSE, and also by the teachers after undergoing the trainings given by the CBSE COE. So they are working very hard in order to develop skills in teachers, and also a curriculum which can develop the entire thinking process of the student. And 21st century skills are achieved, like for example communication skills. There are theater clubs, debate clubs, MUN clubs in the schools. Then after that, we have critical thinking skill that is to be developed, because actually we do not know what kind of work areas we would be having after 10 years, and what would be the requirement of those work areas. So only skills would be helpful for our students to do well in their career and in their life, and to survive successfully on this earth, because at the end of the day, living happily also matters a lot. So developing empathetic skills, apart from it, developing critical thinking, thinking out of the box, developing creative thinking, being collaborative person, so that you are a team member. You are a leader, but you know how to incorporate your team members and move ahead to achieve a particular goal. So there are 21 skills which NEP has mentioned, and those 21 skills are to be taught in the school itself, instead of the students start learning the same at the end of schooling during colleges. And then vocational courses also, CBSE has started after this NEP incorporation, where we have horticulture, pottery, tourism, digital literacy. There are n number of vocational courses where students can opt from classes 6 to classes 12. 84, I think. Yes, I think approximately 84 vocational courses are there which students can opt for. And then if they are doing good, and if they are really liking it, even beautician course, earlier it used to be done after 12th standard. Now beauty as a subject has been introduced in class 11th and 12th, tourism has been introduced in class 11th and 12th, artificial intelligence is there, coding is there. So all these subjects are incorporated in CBSE schools as per instructions given by NEP, which will help students to develop skills that would be very much important to survive in 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Very
Uh,
beautifully explained. Moving on, Kalpana, ma'am.
I would
Ma'am,
like to add on something in
sure,
which
ma'am. Sure, please, ma'am. Go
I
ahead.
would like to add on something as ma'am has spoken about it. See, all the things as we are talking about the skills education, we were doing from ages. But what the difference is there, earlier it was on a paper only and it was not mandate. Now it is mandate and it is documented. That's why the government has started experiential learning. The collaboration with the other schools, we are going to other schools, making a group, then we are doing it. So more exploration and more knowledge, and we are giving the skill to the students. Second thing, subject. It's a very wonderful thing is there that child can opt any subject. Earlier we were bounded with the subjects. So this is the thing where this policy is looking up for the citizen of not tomorrow, citizen of today. They are working on the students so that they can perform today, they can learn today, they can give the result today, and they can opt anything, any subject, and any vocation also. So this is the best thing of this education policy, and I'm sure that everybody will be benefited from that. Thank you.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Suman, ma'am. And very rightly said, no student is bounded by the subjects now. Moving on, Kalpana, ma'am. Ma'am, firstly, would you like to add something to Suman, ma'am, or Mrinalini, ma'am? And also, ma'am, what are the key goals outlined in the national education policy?
Hello.
Kalpana, ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible now. The one call was coming actually.
No problem.
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, as Suman ma'am and Mrinalini ma'am mentioned that how does the policy is aiming to transform the Indian education system. Ma'am, would you like to add something to them? And also, ma'am, what are the key goals in the policy?
Mrinalini ma'am and Renu ma'am already described it very well that what is the transformation NEP is bringing in the current situation. And it is changing from Indian education system to the international standard as I earlier described. And the drastic change which NEP is bringing, this is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. It is replacing 10 plus 2. And definitely this change will bring lot of creativity, lot of innovations, lot of freedom and art into the education. So different kind of learning system is going to be seen in coming years because the students have a lot of freedom nowadays and we are valuing their skills now. Actually, as Manali ma'am was saying, we are actually valuing their skills. It can be coding, it can be computer science, it can be AI, or lots of clubs activities we are also doing in our school also. So we are valuing their skills, we are evaluating properly their skills, and as ma'am has told in her discussion, like now we are training the students for 21st century skills and we don't know which skills will be more beneficial for them in the coming time. So earlier before the NEP 2020, actually what we were doing, we are 18th century teachers actually. We belong to the 18th or 19th century, 19th century, not actually the 18th century,
Yes, ma'am.
and we are teaching into the 20th century, but we were not teaching the 21st century skills. So now NEP is updating educate all the educators, all the learners or leaders of the education that we should teach the 21st century to the students because they are the students of 21st century, not of 19th century or 20th century. Those skills earlier we were teaching them. That was a very traditional method, and most probably it will not be useful in the coming time to them. So, as you asked me about the key goals outlined by NEP is NEP 2020 is totally based on few fundamental keys. Some are like access, equity, quality, affordability. and the accountability also. The key goals of NEP 2020 are focused on the holistic development of the students, and it is consist of inclusion of all type of students, irrespective of their caste, creed, and religion. Education is fundamental for achieving human potential. The evaluation system which is coming from the NEP 2020, it is outstanding, it is amazing, because by this evaluation system we are actually evaluating the students on their actual potential. We are not evaluating only on their grades which they are getting in their subjects like science, math, SST, or Hindi and English. We are evaluating at every level about their art integration in their subjects, about their viva or practical knowledge of that, about their critical thinking, about their creative and some conceptual knowledge के साथ साथ we believe on now the practical knowledge also. So everything is compulsory in each and every subject nowadays, and it is very good and very beneficial for the students. And this is the key goals of the NEP, which I believe, and definitely this kind of the key goals of the NEP will bring the beneficial impact in the students also, which is very very positive impact nowadays. And if we think about after the 10 years, definitely these youngsters will bring more innovation, more creative ideas, more skilled, and they will be good leaders in the future. They will be responsible citizens, because NEP have a goal of this Indian rooted system also. So that is believing on, as ma'am was telling us, empathy, honesty. They think about the sustainability, what is the good citizen can do better for the society, environmental science, every framework of the SQA also, the SQA, we are working on the SQA nowadays. Everything is mentioned there, like it can be environmental science, what the students can do for their environment, for the country, the activities the NEP is describing us is MUN. They're exploring the world now. They're exploring everything through the digital or online concepts. So it is outstanding according to me, and the key goals of the NEP is very well settled. As I told, quality, affordability, accountability, and equity consist of inclusiveness for everyone.
Thank you so much, Kalpana ma'am. Renu ma'am, over to you. Ma'am, Kalpana ma'am beautifully mentioned the key goals mentioned in the policy, ma'am. So, ma'am, what are the measures, what are the steps that, this policy is proposing to promote this kind of education in the schools and the institutions, ma'am?
Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. I will add on to Kalpana ma'am's things. What Mrinali also said, that when we are aiming that we are going to implement, but the most important task in front of us is the training of the faculty members, because I remember during our ancient time when gurukuls were there, the gurus were taking the students to the right at the venue where they were asking them, okay, for example, Raja Dashrath had four sons. The four sons went to Gurukul, where the Guru took them to a forest where they used to stay in the Gurukul in that situation, how to light the fire, how to cook the food, how to get it, and the practical experiential learning. So, in that particular terms, I would say, in addition to the holistic education, it is also aiming for our constitutional values, which is going to deepen our democratic roots also of our country. So various options are also there, like we say entrance level at UG level will reduce once we implement NEP, because we will have so many other skills developed among these students. Then providing equal education to every gender in every category, n number of entrance exams, producing different ways of learning like digital learning, and then teacher to be promoted or transferred based on their ability, what skill they have based on their merit, and transforming learning into a fun. So the priority, the measures which our government is going to take, which is first of all we need to understand why it is important, why such measures are needed. So basic thing is the infrastructure. So all institutions, whether be it school or a university, they should have a proper infrastructure for providing all kind of skills. For example, carpentry or for AI, or we must have such kind of labs for the training of the students. Then regular professional development programs for the teachers, because which is very important, because me and you or the government can put up the things on the paper, but practicality is what, who has to ultimately implement it, who has to execute. So the teachers have to be trained. So teacher training program is a very very important measure which should be taken into account. Regular professional development courses should be done, as CBSE is already doing it, and but we need to continue. Then redesign the curriculum to make it more friendly or fun based, so that there is a learning outcome. What we have taught, what we have done, what we have learned, and what is the learning outcome of that, so that our creativity, our visualization is always enhanced. Then use of technology. As we know, technology has taken a major place in our, in everyone's life. So gradually the jobs are being reduced. Like now we do all transactions through, we don't require a ATM card or anything. We do all transactions through digital. So obviously the cashiers in the banks are not those many required which were required earlier. So the skills are very important, which has to be taken place. And various startups should be there. Use of technology. Then you organizing various kinds of competitions, so that people get to know that to implement this, we need to compete with people, we need to do, and we have to empower students and our teachers. Empowering students means we are not killing their creativity, we are not killing their thinking process. Because I have been telling my students, because the thing is they need to be creative, and their creativity has to be encouraged. They maybe you never know who is going to give us another law, sitting under a tree and seeing, watching the apple falling from a tree, and then we have a Newton law coming up. So similarly, we have such scientists in our amongst our students. We need to encourage them. And education liberated the intellect, unlocks imagination, and fundamental for self-respect. So the key, it is a key to prosperity, open world of opportunities. We, when we are organizing competitions, we are organizing various training programs, we are providing the opportunities, and then make possible for each of us to contribute healthy and progressive society. Once teachers are trained, motivated, fun learning, students are automated, because happy teacher can create happy classroom. So teachers have to be made happy by taking out their fear of facing the students, providing them training, providing them such platforms, learning platforms where they enjoy. At the same time, they should be given nice packages. Salary is one of the attractions for the teachers. So this is also one of the reasons why we need to look into this. So the government has to think in on those lines also, and the school owners or university owners or the people who are responsible for running such institutions has to look into that. That we have to provide a conducive, learning, happy environment to the teachers as well as to the students, so that it becomes a strong team and we have a best outcome of that. So, I would say, of course, we are all conversing in English, but I would say, मैं उस माटी का, children should be able to say, मैं उस माटी का फूल नहीं जिसको बंजर नदियों ने सींचा है, मैं उस माटी का फूल नहीं जिसको नदियों ने सींचा है, मैं उस बंजर भूमि से निकला हूँ जिसमें मैंने मृत्यु से जीवन खींचा है, जिसमें मैंने मृत्यु से जीवन खींचा है। मैं पत्थर पे लिखी इबारत हूँ, उसको तुम कब तक मिटाओगे, मुझको तुम कब तक रोकोगे, मुझको तुम कब तक रोकोगे. Every child should be able to say that, and we are able to achieve it. And we all have a long way to go into this. And we as leaders, we as teachers, we as parents have to work a lot in this direction, because making a policy is something different. Executing the policy in proper manner is more important.
Thank you so much, Renu ma'am. And yes, I think we all can agree to it that what I'm getting, what I'm learning in the classroom, what I'm being taught in the classroom, I should be knowing that how do I implement that in my, real life. And thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for the poem. Moving on, Mrinalini ma'am, would you like to add something to ma'am?
See, as you asked, how to empower teacher and how to train teachers so that they are able to implement NEP properly in the class. First of all, already CBSE has sent the NEP document to all principals and it is available on the website. So what we are doing actually, as all principals, we have been doing after getting circulars from CBSE, that we have circulated the policy, the document to all teachers, and every week Saturday, I am taking training of my teachers in my school. First, pre-primary classes, I took training, the foundational literacy and numeracy skill, how it has to be developed, what TLM is to be used, how various TLMs are to be used in pre-primary classes, and after training each wing for one particular, you can say, art integration classes I took for my teachers for classes 1 to 12, because that is also mandatory when we are filling up the marks in CBSE for classes 10th and 12th. They do internal marks whenever we fill, they ask to fill the art integration activities done by school for classes 1 to 12. So art integration classes I'm taking for my teachers. Apart from it, I'm sending my teachers, and all other principals also are doing it. These are the basic things which we all principals do in order to make sure that our teachers are well equipped with NEP when they are entering inside the class. We send our teachers for COE trainings to other schools or to CBSE, online webinars, various platforms which are conducting online webinars for teachers on NEP. Apart from it, we are sharing links of videos, as like today we are discussing NEP. So this link will be shared with the teachers of all the schools. So obviously something they would learn more about NEP. And then, as Renu ma'am said, empowering teacher. Empowerment is very important until and unless we give them complete freedom to design the curriculum and child-based curriculum. One single curriculum cannot fulfill the requirement for entire 40 students, and also it cannot achieve the learning outcome for all 40 students, because it may be different. It cannot be same for all 40 students. Learning outcome for one child, maybe he will develop skill for drawing. Another child, he may develop affection towards the plants after reading photosynthesis. For another child, he may develop an equipment where what is the amount of carbon dioxide released can be measured. So learning outcome is different for different child. So as a teacher, curriculum is to be designed keeping the child in the center, and then various n number of learning outcomes are are dotted down, and then curriculum and lesson plan is developed. So this skill is to be taught to teachers, which can be done only through training and continuous reading. So this is how we all are collaborating with each other and with CBSE in order to empower our teacher so that they are efficiently delivering NEP policies based chapters and lessons in the class.
Thank you so much, Mrinalini ma'am. Moving on, Suman ma'am. Ma'am, what all measures has the policy, this national education policy has proposed to promote, the kind of education we are talking of, the inclusive education, ma'am?
Uh, See, whenever we are planning something new, so first thing is to plan properly. To execute it, the framework is done very well. But before pursuing anything new in education or any sector, we have to give the proper training. For that, education sector, CBSE and government is working hard. They are giving the training to the teachers as well to the principals. Yesterday only I read one news that UGC is giving the training to higher education professors also. These are 15 lakhs, so that they can bridge the gap between school and colleges. So when we work upon something new, then we have to take care of many things, because when we start it, everybody should understand what is the program and how to perceive. Our books are also now designed on the basis of NEP, which we are getting from there. The detail is given everywhere. Secondly, NEP has clubbed gender identities, social cultural identities, geographical identities, disabilities, and socioeconomic conditions to create a new social group called SEDGS. To bridge the gaps of education inequality on the basis of gender, geographical, socioeconomic, biological differences. And for that, the training is also given. They are appointing the new teachers, appointment of a special educator to teach disabled children, reforming the infrastructure of the schools with mandate guidelines, as everywhere the opportunities are not same. In rural area, the demand is different, and cities demand is different, but the education policy is for all. So these education policy makers are just giving the attention to each and every point, and they are working hard on that. Time to time, we are getting the trainings, we are giving the trainings, we are engaging our children in the different activities, so that we can identify the skill of the child, and the child can perceive uh, the according to her and his choice. Regular training sessions for the principals, for the teachers, and we are just collaborating with the schools. We are going to other schools, we are meeting the students, and then we are designing the activities which ma'am has said already we have done in the 18th centuries and 19th centuries. It was dependent on the teacher's skill. Now it is not dependent on the teacher's skill, it is mandate, it's compulsory to do. For that, we have to work hard in the training sessions. If we will do the training properly, we will understand the value and the system and the informants of the NEP rule and regulations. Definitely, we will give the right training and right education to the students. When they will come up for the higher education, they can decide their career as per their skill and what they have learned. And evaluation of a child should be on his or her skill and the performance. We are doing the assessment on a same level, either it is uh, co-curricular or extracurricular. Now it is different for them, and we it is scaled that what type of activities should we introduce, in which activity the child should get the marks and the grading. So these things are different now, and we have to stick with that, because now it's a new thing, it's a good thing, and it is very beneficial to the students also. So I believe when we will get the training and we will train the children, we will train our teachers, definitely we will just do it in a well manner, and we can reform the infrastructure and the teaching and everything, and it will take us to the higher side only. Thank you.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Suman ma'am. Kalpana ma'am, would you like to add something to Suman ma'am?
Ma'am already explained it very well, but I will add two or three lines about the inclusiveness in NEP 2020. The two words which is equity and inclusiveness. This is the heart of NEP 2020, which I observed, because throughout the chapters when we are going through the NEP 2020 bylaws books also, those two words, the equity and inclusions, coming after every chapter, after 10 pages and after 11 pages, the next two words are coming every time. So we have to understand why these words are coming, because they are giving the importance to that. And inclusion involve actually restructuring the whole system with the aim of ensuring that the wide range of educational opportunities should be available to everyone. It can be a rural child or it can be an urban child. as ma'am was explaining very well, that it's geographical barrier, physical, mental health barrier, and language barrier. That will not be barrier for them when inclusion will come into the NEP 2020. Last month, we got the circular about the multilingualism in CBSE schools, and it is outstanding that they had made it compulsory that native language should be included till 10 plus 2 standard, second year secondary. We have to involve the Hindi language as a mandatory language in CBSE school. And it is outstanding because if we are neglecting our native language, maybe it is barrier for so many students to give their performance best and to prove their potential best. So inclusion, to promote the inclusion, NEP is doing outstanding work, and they're giving us the directions time to time. As everybody is expert here, educated, we are all the leaders of education. So we are getting trainings time to time as we are attending this webinar organized by NTEP. And yesterday also I attended NCF webinar organized by GPSC team of Gurgaon Sahotia groups. So everyone, as ma'am was telling, Nani ma'am was telling us that we are sharing those links with our teachers, we are sharing the webinars links with them, we are sending them for the capacity building programs at different schools. We are organizing capacity building programs at our own schools also to learn more about NEP and their reconstruction of learning system. And most of are aware about it, but we are just polishing our skills. We are already trained about it, but we are polishing our skills because this is different thing which is coming after 20 years gap. So it is outstanding for us, and inclusiveness is the main concept of NEP 20, and they're promoting it very well. They are giving the regular circulars to us, and they're involving and working on all the aspects regarding the OSS. Or you guys are asking different questions in these concepts also, and I hope the inclusiveness will definitely improve the standard of the education for those students who were feeling barriers for earlier regarding their physical, mental, or financial, or due to the geographical areas. So, thank you so much to ask the wonderful questions from me.
Thank you so much, Kalpana ma'am. Thank you so much, Suman ma'am, Renu ma'am, Kalpana ma'am, and Mrinalini ma'am for being here today. It was lovely having you here and listening to your experiences and knowledge, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, dear. And really, it is a very enlightening session, and to heard lot of educators here, and very knowledgeable, very informative for us also. Very informative.
I would like to
Thank you,
add on,
everyone.
Kalpana, one thing here, because when we are talking about
Yeah.
inclusive education here, teacher has a very important role, because we know that every child is potentially the light of the human world and pride of the human race. So every child is born with
And
something good or something in minus. So the teacher's role is here is very important, because a teacher has to identify the special students in terms of their social, emotional behavior, physical, and academic strengths. So, what are the strengths? And we have to work on those. With the strengths of that child or those children, we can carry on so that we can remove the minus part from that, and we can bring them to the level where they are destined for. So ultimately, I would say a teacher has an important role here in everyone's life. So for a student, teachers' words are the most important thing. So we need to understand, and we as leaders, as principals, we have to understand the emotions of the teachers, and the teachers have to further understand the social and emotional needs of the children, especially in terms of inclusive education. It is a very important factor where we need
very,
to.
very important, ma'am.
Yeah.
I will add one more sentence also, dear. That as ma'am was telling, we have a knowledge of NEP 2020, and we know about the inclusiveness also. But we educators know about it. That if we will accept it from the heart, then definitely it will give best results in coming years. But if we will understand about it and we want to implement it fruitfully, it will give result less than if we will accept it from the heart. What is the main purpose? What is the main motive of the NEP 2020 and how it will be fruitful for our kids. And definitely, if all the education leaders will work on that, it will give best results in the coming years and it will be more impactful for our society.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Kalpana ma'am and Renu ma'am, for beautiful words. Thank you so much, ma'ams, and
Thank
have
you.
a
It's our
great day,
pleasure.
ma'am. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'ams. Have a great day. And for all the viewers watching us out, do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more stuff like this.